Hey guys, welcome to another episode. So today we are in Purgatory. The gear didn't really change at all. I'm using the same gold find gear. Right now I have an okay amount of gold, maybe if I want to buy 2 or 3 pieces of like armor. I'm probably going to have to buy a chest piece and a belt coming up. Boots obviously need to go. So I don't want to sink too much into my funds by buying books. I have the spells that I pretty much need, except for the firewall and lightning wall spells. But yeah, hopefully it won't be too hard in here. But level 25, it's pretty much where I need to be. I went back for Horizon's Demons, and honestly, it was just I was getting like 0.09% like per kill, and that's in a quest level, so just not enough. About the same gold piles, just under 200 gold. Should stack up pretty quickly.
Not enough mana.
Well, I like having Identify on my bar, but it looks like I'm gonna have to start using F8 as my proper key here. It's too hard to try and get it in a pinch to just click this bottom bar. Some people only play the game like that, and honestly, I think it's really difficult to play. You just once you memorize it, you get it stuck in your head, like what you actually have to click. It's just like 100 times faster. And eventually, after like a lot of practice, it just comes to be that you never really feel like, oh yeah, what do I have to click? It's just right there. It's kind of like teleport. If you play any kind of like caster or like archer, you're gonna just remember where the teleport key is and not have to worry about it. So far the difficulty is actually pretty high. I thought it would be a little bit easier because things take fire damage, but looks like the life that everyone has is actually pretty high. Didn't really even notice, but did I just get 3? Okay, no, I just got 2 elixirs, but I mean, still 2 elixirs in the first level, first half of the level. That's pretty awesome. This character must just have lucky data stuck in him.
Not enough mana. I have no room.
Not terrible, but .16 dexterity is much better, but I need so much vitality to get into those that I think I'm just gonna drop them. could have swore that I didn't need vitality for any of the boots and stuff for this character. I thought it was just a flat magic amount. And I'm pretty sure that it's not just another pair of boots later on, because the ones that I remember looking at, most of the gloves, belts, and boots were just 123 magic, but I guess there was a vitality portion that I just didn't even think about. So, if that is the case, I guess the next level has to dump into vitality. I've been lacking that for quite a while. The shields take it too, so might as well drink those. Well, that's gonna slow things down quite a bit. That's pretty much it. Okay, that wasn't bad. Well, is it? I'll do a quick teleport.
Not enough mana.
Yeah, it's not a terrible clear time. I didn't really restart, I played fairly safe, but 13 minutes is not bad.
Not enough mana. Not enough mana.
Kind of a shame, these doors that just block my archers so well. Oh, I forgot they took fire damage. What a waste of time. I don't know why my archers won't fire at the ones that are right in front of them. There we go. It's like they have to make it at least into the door frame. If they don't make it into the door frame, then it's all bets are off.
Not enough mana.
Still 18 monsters to go. This chain is getting a little ridiculous here. It's been like half the level, and I still haven't saved. I guess it's the boss's AI to run away, but still. It'd be nice if I could finish it.
Not enough mana.
There we go. Guess we're going to Vitality. It's not that terrible because a lot of the boots that I have take 28 Vitality for reading books. So at least this way I'll be able to wear the boots, read some more books along the way. Plus 12 armor class is probably a whole lot better than whatever I have. Yeah, 8 experience. I get some bonus experience. That's... Shouldn't worry about experience anymore.
Not enough mana. Not enough mana.
So currently there's new stash in the work. And I'm pretty pumped about it because it was kind of something that was on the hit list for the dev team to do. Since the start, they had plans to do it. But it looks like it's finally coming to fruition. Probably in the next patch or the patch after that, there's going to be a new stash. Something that kind of has people up in arms, though, is that it won't be a standard stash like we have right now. It'll be just for single player. Like, it'll be attached to your file. So instead of like before where you could have like your separate stash file, then you have your character file, so now it's like your character is like every part of the stash. Except for multiplayer where I guess, you know... Actually, characters in multiplayer might act the same way. But either way, I think it's not a terrible idea. Oh shoot, I just read Reflect. I prefer not to have that, it just kind of clogs all this bottom part up. It's not like you can unlearn spells either, so... Oh well. But yeah, on one hand it's like, people don't like it because, you know, if you're someone who doesn't like to grind in this game, everyone knows how to like copy elixirs and like items and whatever, so... You know, if you're someone who just likes to play the game for a very short amount of time, like, they're obviously going to be mad because it's like no one wants to grind Mushroom Quest for like, you know, 29 characters at probably about 7 to 10 hours each. If they don't have to, right? Or if there's an easier way. But I think people are just... they're forgetting what the hell 1 was and what this mod has. It's like you feel like you're losing something because you could add into a perk that gives you power, but at the same time, those perks didn't exist in the Hell 1. So just the option that you have it and that you could speed it up at the cost of your character, endgame, it's actually not a bad thing. It makes you feel like you lost something even though you don't, and I can see why people feel that way, but honestly, it's just... it's probably better, because every time, like, you go and you think about it, you're like, okay, like, I like building my character, and I like, you know, working towards, like, the end game, but when you just know that every other person has, like, very easy access to cheating, it's like, it just kills your motivation. Now, you know, on one hand, you could be like, well, just live with it, and, like, dupe and whatever, and then you won't feel so bad about it. It's like, yeah, but I've done it on characters that I didn't actually want to play. Like, I've done it on, like, a monk. That was the last character I made in the Hell, and I just did it to play with multiplayer with other people. But honestly, it just... every time I do that, I pretty much instantly quit that character. Or if I don't quit it, it's because, like, other people are there to play with that character, but I don't actually play them myself. But, like, my Paladin, my Assassin, and my Mage in the Hell 1, it's like, those characters I actually stuck to for a fair bit of time. Of course you could argue, like, okay, well, if you have the Haggler perk, you want to give your stat points to someone else. Like, you don't want to just find these elixirs with, like, the Haggler perk and just use it for one character. Or else you might as well just go educated, right? Same amount of perk points, but you just get magic find and whatever. But I think people just kind of forget that characters... this is annoying. Characters are their own files. So like in the Hell 2, or not the Hell 2, Diablo 2, like you had mule characters who just held stuff. That's all I did, just... So you just make a character, and you're like, okay, well, I don't really want to, like, I can't deposit these elixirs, right? But you just pass them off to your other character. You find a bunch on your mage, you're like, okay, well, I finally saved up about 20 of them. I'm tired of holding these, I'm gonna, you know, have my buddy come into multiplayer and just hold them for me. So it's like, you don't really lose out, it's just that the ease of access is lost. So you don't have people who just like say, oh well, why would I want to, you know, grind my character the long way? I might as well just, you know, dupe elixirs because it saves times and there's no real challenge in it. But this way it's like, okay, only probably a few people will actually like hack the game, or I don't even know what to like call it really. Like there's like people who would go on and run the game at triple speed. You know, some people don't consider that like cheating. There's people who like had like some kind of drop cheat in the Hell 1 where every single item that dropped would be a blue item. So it's like there's always going to be like that small minority, but I think it's just as long as there's not like 95% of people, because when it's like 95% of people, it just like, you know, you don't get the good feeling because it's like, okay, everyone else does it, and then, you know, if you don't do it, it's like it's really just yourself telling you. But if you have like a community that's like, oh, you know, you built your character up from scratch, good for you, man, or you put this much time in, it's like just something where you're like, okay, this person actually like played the mod, they know somewhat like about the game. It's like maybe they don't know every character in depth, but at least they know that one character a fair bit, right? So honestly, I think it's a good move. It's been so long since like oh shoot, I just lost a permanent durability on this, dang. Have any repair oils? No, I don't. Ah well. But in the Hell 1, yeah, it was ridiculous. Like, one time there was a guy on there who could actually... He had a program where he could see what other people held in their inventory. So he went around, and over, like, the course of a couple years, he picked out the items that people were wearing. And he found pretty much, I think 95% of, like, probably the 55 people that were on that list had the Sacred Amulet of the Zodiac. And it all had perfect stats. And not only that, it was the perfect stats along with the exact same item code. So it wasn't just like, oh, these people like grinded their ass off and they all happen to find like a sacred amulet with the same image and whatever. It's like, no, it was a fabricated item that was made that all these people just had because they're like, oh, everyone else uses it. Well, you know, why should I try? You know what I mean? Like all these things where it's like they trade and it's like it's ease of access and all that jazz. And it's just so everyone had it, except for, yeah, just a few people. And those people, I wonder if it's just because like they just never actually played online too much with other people, or they never got to endgame, so they never felt like they needed it. But at that point in the game, like, you know, me and this guy, we made this giant list, he put it together, and we thought of all these ways you could punish people who had these hacked items without them clearly knowing it. So it was pretty funny at the end. You'd have something like 10% chance to take triple damage from the next hit. And after this effect goes off, it can't happen for another 5 minutes. So if you're someone who's just like playing, you're like, okay, what? I just took like a crazy amount of damage, and you try and replicate it, you just wouldn't be able to because, you know, something coded in there to be like, okay, this can't repeat itself within 5 minutes. But it's just enough to like, you know, it's a hassle, right? It's just like all of a sudden you're like, oh, what? Like a bug or something. Bugs really, well, they bug people, so it's like playing with a bunch of hacks, whatever. It's like people don't really like to play with it, so the idea was that he wanted to make the game a little bit more legit again, and these would be ways to do it. But the list got presented to Mordor. It basically was just, it's too hard to implement anything at that stage. It's just like, you know, it's an old mod and all these things. There really wasn't, like there'd already been things in place, like the max stats, which is the big one. At the start, some Brazilian guy just gave everyone like 1 billion spectral elixirs, and there was no like limit to how many stats you could have. So you had these level 1 characters, the max stats just rolling around and like not enjoying the game because, you know, why wouldn't you take free stuff, right? And it just, you know, it pretty much ruined the mod for all these people. And it's like, okay, well there's some things like the max stat cap that kind of, you know, it's the best of both worlds. It's like you don't need that many stats. Even if you do want to grind really hard, you don't have to do it that way. You don't need max stats at level 1. It's just, even at level 35, you just don't need max stats at that point. So there are things like that in place that kind of were put into play, but there really wasn't something that could be like, okay, this guy has a specific item that's hacked, and he's using it to gain like an advantage that, you know, realistically he couldn't find on his own, or he didn't find on his own, or he did find an item that was so close, but he just used this one because it was perfect, you know, perfect 40% resist all, 20 plus all attributes. But now, it's the balls on the other side of the court, where you have people who, well, Mordor and the team thought of this idea where you could just take out that really easy way to dupe elixirs and all that stuff, and I think, honestly, I'm ready for that. It's been a long time, and you just kind of give up, and it's like, well, we can't do anything, and it's not worth it to spend that much effort to, you know, try and combat hackers if they're just going to do it anyway, right? But here it's like, you know, they're making a new stash anyway. Why not have it implemented like that? You know, that's what it seems to be the philosophy, and I'm totally down with that. Ooh, skeleton archer, nice. Wonder if I can. No, still can't use another one, but that's alright. I don't think there's too many fire resists, so this will probably be a slower level. But by the same token, my main concern when I first heard about like the stash idea was that if you went out of your way and you found the best like ring, you suppose you did find, like, I guess in this game it's called not Zodiac, but at Q level 63 there's a sacred or a cursed affix that is plus 12 to all attributes, plus 11 to plus 12 to all attributes. So it's like, what if you spent your time and you found, like, you know, a sacred ring of the elders? And it's like, oh, well, you actually found it. You found that 1 in a million, like, item. But you found it on a character that you messed up the perk points for. Or it was an Iron Man, or not an Iron Man character, but it was like your first character, so it was your Magic Find character, right? You got all your Hagler perk and like Magic Find, but it didn't matter because like that's just it. Or you messed up the perks. You think, oh yeah, you did your calculations wrong, and you're like, you know what? I don't want to go DFE. I want to go resistance perks. So you do all that, and it's like, dang, I found the best item that I'm ever gonna find. That 1 in a million item, and now I can't have any character use it because, well, it's not like they can't use it, it's just that it's inefficient for them to use it. Oh, another strength elixir. Hell yeah. Forgot I had that. But, because every character is a stash in itself, the item will still exist, and now I don't know much about virtual machines and all that. Virtual machines and whatever, but, I mean, people who are a little bit more tech savvy in that sense could just run, you know, 2 systems of Windows and trade with themselves or deal with themselves. So it's just like where you start getting like, you know, 10, 12 elixirs saved up, you're like, okay, it's kind of a hassle to carry. The inventory is bigger, so I don't consider it really a hassle because all this space that's like below these 4 lines is extra space. So we'll use some of these relics up here.
Not enough mana.
Arcane Star, that's good to have. King Lyric's Tomb. Yeah, I don't think I could do that. All it takes is one arrow and come through the enemies, and I could just get stun locked and get jibbed pretty easily. King Lyric's also pretty strong for Purgatory, so no use trying that one. Alright, well I should probably go back and repair stuff and whatever. So I'll wrap things up here. Catch you guys next time.